And as I understand, we will try instead to have a small event at the end of the day in Akureyri, and I hope that will come to be true. And we will, at the same time, those of us who didn't dare to venture on the flight, try to meet again in the evening, and we will be sending you our warmest regards here from Reykjavik. Let me simply conclude by wishing you all the best in your endeavors today and tomorrow, and hope that we will find a way to make it a successful seminar despite the interventions from higher authority. I thank you very much and wish you a good working day. Thank you. Over to you, Þorgeir.
Thank you, Einar. And dear participants in the seminar in Akureyri, also regret that I did not have the opportunity to visit you today. I was looking forward to that, but then I will have to come back, and I'm looking forward to that. Before I share a few thoughts with you based on Norway's approach to the Arctic and the High North, I would like to thank the University of Akureyri and the Fram Center and the Stephenson Institute on arranging today's seminar together with our two ministries. I think it points at important advantage that we as Iceland and Norway have of coming from, in a way, the same direction. I'll show you this picture, which is when we come to Iceland, we can read "Welkomin heim." And we know that doesn't mean that it's a welcome home, but it feels, in a way, good. And it gives me the feeling of coming also to a nation that comes from the same experience as ourselves, the ocean perspective of the Arctic, the High North. Both Norway and Iceland are two countries that have been living off and from the sea always. And we still do that, and we'll do that in the future. That means that our perspective of the High North and Arctic is marked by this historic fact and the fact of today. And in the Arctic, in our part of the world, a lot of things are happening, and they're happening fast. This picture is pointing at that fact. It is the Snow Dragon, the Chinese icebreaker that visited Iceland a few months ago. It illustrates the fact that our part of the world has now become interesting from the point of view of new global big actors. And also the fact that it's the knowledge-based approach they are coming here with. This was a scientific expedition. On Svalbard, Spitsbergen, there are already researchers from China, from India, from South Korea, and the interest from Asia is growing. This indicates and illustrates the high strategic interest of the High North. And what is actually happening in the High North, in the Arctic? What are the drivers, the main drivers for the change and the increased attention? Let me go briefly through a few of them. From an economic point of view, there are more possibilities because the ice is melting. That is a dramatic scenario, not a positive scenario, but it is happening. And that means that economic activity, be it traditional resource-based activity or other, is happening on places that did not happen before. Just one small story. I was at Svalbard a few weeks ago, They were telling me that for the first time ever this year, you've had 40 trawlers fishing on the northern side of Svalbard. That has never happened before. Why? Because there was no ice anymore. And also, I heard that on the very North Pole this September, the measurement of the ice showed that at part of the geographic North Pole, you had as little as 1.5 meters of ice, which is in itself dramatic, indicates big changes. And then there are, because of increased human activity caused by melting ice and more accessible areas, energy is becoming a driving factor in the dynamic in the Arctic. We, as Norway, has been developing oil and gas resources in the Arctic for many, many years. We still do that, but we're moving further to the north now than before. I would say in Iceland are also exploring the possibility offshore, but here, Iceland, again, technology, knowledge, onshore, renewable energy of the vast kind of resource that belongs to Iceland. Another factor of pointing at the importance of technology and knowledge in the development. Let me then go to this slide, indicating when we are putting up our priorities. I'm coming back to the knowledge part, which is the main theme of today's seminar, of course. This is a Norwegian perspective. When we entered into government in 2005 and made the High North and Arctic our main priority in the foreign policy, it was from the aspect of seeing that changes were taking place, and that's a small state, as Norway is, and also Iceland is. When you have changes and more interest from bigger powers, predictability, stability, and peace is a main kind of natural focus. And what is then important in terms of stability? That is clear borders, clear lines, particularly as small states. We like to have clear lines vis-à-vis bigger powers. And this is our kind of maritime borders. They are now complete today. They were not that a few years ago. We have finished several negotiations in terms of terminating the final kind of dotted lines we had. But the most important one was this one. After 40 years of negotiations with Russia, we finalized the delimitation with Russia, which is, from a Norwegian perspective, very important, because we have Russia as a neighbor. It's been a good neighbor for many years. But Russia is a big neighbor, and for a small state to have a clear line with a big neighbor is important. And a lot of what we've been doing as Norway has been directed towards increasing predictability and the legal status of the Arctic, law of the sea, predictable borders, clear lines. That's been kind of the guiding star for us. And here we have a common body, the Arctic Council, which is the framework in which we are all cooperating, Iceland, Norway, and the other Arctic nations, becoming more and more a real political body. We signed the first binding agreement last year in search and rescue between all Arctic state members. Few weeks ago, the second agreement was finally negotiated here in Reykjavik. That's on oil spills and the new regulatory framework, which is going to be signed in the next ministerial meeting in the spring. Showing very clearly that the Arctic Council today has become the organization in which we all put priority and going to make make use of in terms of having predictable and binding international agreements. So the Arctic Council is also coming then to Tromsø. This is the Fram Center in Tromsø, where also the International Secretariat for the Arctic Council is going to open when that is clear to go, with links to also where you are now, Akureyri. We have also scientific important task within the Arctic Cooperation. And knowledge has been the main priority within our Arctic High North strategy. Why? Because of several factors. I will mention a few of them. One, I started by pointing at Snowdragon and the Chinese expedition coming to the Arctic Ocean and then to Iceland. That is good, that is fine. But the fact that non-Arctic countries now are getting interested in the Arctic is in itself no problem. But that means also that there's a lot of actors out there with little knowledge of Arctic Arctic history, of Arctic realities, and to transmit knowledge on what's going on in itself important. And then a second challenge is to generate knowledge in order to maneuver and to manage new both opportunities and challenges. Let me take one example from a Norwegian point of view. This is Barents Watch, which was something that was mentioned in the security report by Thorvald Stoltenberg in a Nordic framework 2-3 years ago. This is information intelligence information open system that has been established in Norway of activity in the Barents Sea, knowledge-based. Why is this important? Obviously, because of melting ice, more human activity, more shipping is taking place, more human visitors. So we need systems and information in order to kind of manage the area. This Barents Watch system, which is a system in which there are pooled both today open information sources, linking all kind of various separate information bases together in one overall picture or of real-time activity in this area. In terms of oil transportation, for example, tankers, very important. We know that this summer there were about 43 shipments going all the way through the northeastern passage. But what is less known is that the tonnage of oil being shipped from the Russian sector out around our coastline and towards Iceland is increasing much more. And that is the type of transportation that we will see more and more of. And of course we need systems to monitor and to manage that challenge in terms of potential accidents, for example. And here again, cooperation between Arctic states, between Iceland, between Norway, based upon our different national systems, but also then linked to what we do all together in the Arctic Council is very important. And here again, we have now a search and rescue agreement in place. Next year we'll have the first oil spill agreement in place, based on knowledge. Back to where you are, Akureyri. I think that the agreement that or the MOU we signed, as Einar mentioned, between the foreign ministers last year, is an excellent example of what we have to do more of, and that is cooperation between ourselves on the dimensions that we are having in common. And Iceland and Norway, we share a common ocean perspective, ocean history, and ocean future. And Einar and myself, we had a meeting earlier today where we also learned that the weather was so bad that we couldn't go. And we were discussing how we should strengthen Icelandic and Norwegian cooperation in the future. And the MOU and the cooperation now established between the University of Akureyri, the Fram Center and beyond, with the pillars in the MOU that was signed, exchange of students, exchange of researchers, is a stepping stone for doing more. We share a common future in managing these areas, and to make sure that we're able to pool our resources together in producing more knowledge and sharing that knowledge with others is very important. So I really hope that we are able to fill that MOU with real content. That is not the responsibility of the two Ministry of Foreign Affairs, but of course of those who will take advantage of it. And I really hope that it will be an important part of our strengthened relationship in terms of cooperation. I think I'll end and I'll stop there, and I will say that I really wish you a good seminar, and I'm sad that I was not able to join you today. I really looked forward to that. The only good thing then is to say that then I have to come back at some later stage and visit Akureyri. And hope you will have a good day, good discussions, and a nice evening without us. Thank you.